Lloyd,
Hey yo.
hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Awesome. We'll let Dave get situated. Um,
There we go.
there we go.
Hey, hey, hey.
Hi, what's happening?
Wow. Not much. It's just weird. It's been what, 20 plus years, so
Yeah, probably like 25 years,
good Lord.
maybe?
I'm okay, see, you can't use math with me. It's not gonna end well.
No,
No.
I'm not really a math person either. I think
Okay.
Lloyd has something to say about that.
I've told
Okay.
myself that math is no longer a measurement of a person's intelligence.
Oh,
I
it
don't
never
care. I
has
don't, I don't care how good you are at math.
it never has been.
Yeah,
Completely overrated. And
totally over.
statistics are bullshit.
It's funny.
Every
Dave, go
Go
ahead, go
ahead.
ahead.
No, you go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I'm just happy that you're here because I've been meaning to ask you to come on the podcast for a while. And then I was like, what's holding me back from messaging you? And I messaged you and you were like right away, yeah, hello, let's go.
Yeah, well, yeah, I see. For years, I thought it was, that ill-fated comment of, you're going to make somebody a great ex-wife someday, and I thought, well, maybe there were bitter
Oh
feelings,
no.
or.
No, not coming from you. I would
Okay,
never take that.
okay, I
Lloyd,
appreciate that.
yeah. Way back in the day, he a
Mhm.
long time ago said, you would make an excellent ex-wife. And
Yeah,
I was like, where do I even, what do I even do
well,
with that?
if you
I
look at it,
mean,
it's a positive, right, Lloyd? Come on, back me up.
hey, here's the thing, right, Dave? I'm just meeting you.
Okay,
Meanwhile, I've known Jaws for a while,
Yeah,
okay.
that's true.
and yeah, I
All
don't
right,
know.
let
I
me
think
get the
that's the.
light better here.
I think you'll make a great ex-wife one day. Is almost at least in my mind. It's a little bit different, but it's like people are like, "Oh, you're gonna make some woman really happy one day," and I'm just like, "Okay, cool."
One day will come. You
Right.
watch.
It's not one day, so why do I care?
It happens like that. Like the little context here. Dave and
Mhm.
I met way back in radio, like well, many,
Yes.
many, many, many years ago. And he
We
sends his,
yeah.
yeah, when was it? Was it
I want to say it's like,
RKR
yeah, RKR Kalamazoo 2000
ish?
2001-ish. Yeah, because I had just left to take a job in Chico, California to do mornings, and I think you got hired pretty quickly after that. And then I came back and I met you through a mutual friend, Todd Thompson, who was working there at the time.
Yeah,
So
where's
yeah,
he at? That's a
I
name I
have
haven't heard in a
no
long.
idea. Oh
That's a
my
name
God,
I've
yeah,
heard in a while. Yeah. So
yeah.
I
For
think I was doing
context, and
what?
I just wanted to give context to anybody listening to this to let them know that I was 8 at the time.
Oh my
Oh
God,
my God.
this is damn it, Lloyd. Yeah, I
I
see. Here's why I feel like I know you. It's because I watched the Vagina Lady podcast you guys did two days ago, and the way you sat there stone faced when she talked about clitoral insensitivity, like you had heard it every Tuesday during casual conversation. I was impressed. I'm like, that
there are
is.
there are very few things that actually bug me, and most
Mm,
of the people I know in my life just happen to be women. So I'm
yeah,
like, you know,
yeah. And I always am like, sorry, Lloyd. And you're like, I'm good. And I'm like,
yeah.
I know, really, I'm really sorry for me that like I'm saying something like, yeah, anyways.
no, you know what's really funny, and this is like super, like I have always been like, oh, those aren't my conversations to have,
Mm,
and it reminds me when I was in my freshman year of college. I was in like it was an English class. It was like a critical theory deal, and
Yeah.
every week we would go through like another lens of theory.
mhm.
And it was funny because like there was
They talk about
African.
vaginas.
No, no, no. Can I?
Okay.
No, 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 no,
I see. That's where I thought you were going.
Yeah.
no. But there's like different lenses of criticism. There's one that's like, African American,
Uh-huh.
whatever, and then there's like feminists. But the funny thing is, I was the only black person in the class, right? So when it was like African American, the teacher came in and she's like, "Don't everybody look at Lloyd. It's not
Okay.
his responsibility to inform you." Blah 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 blah. But then we got to like feminist criticism. I didn't know what
Mhm.
feminism. Yeah, I can't even
Say
say it
that
right now.
5 times fast.
But I didn't really have context for what that was my freshman year. and I was also the only guy in that class.
I don't think
And
anybody knows what's going on freshman year, honestly.
No.
Like, no.
It's a
most
waste.
people
Your
don't know what's
first
going
3
on
years
most of
are
their
a waste.
lives.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Well, Dave, I want to talk about your journey from like because obviously we highlight creatives here and we talk about like different people going in different places in the creative world. And I want to hear more about your journey since I haven't talked to you in like 20 some years. And like when I first got into RKR, you took off and went to California.
Yeah.
So you were in radio and then like, so give us a little synopsis
Well,
of your journey, because a lot of people are like, a lot of people want to get into radio. A lot of people want to get into TV.
which
A lot of people want to
yeah,
get voiceover on
yeah,
camera. It's hard.
and radio especially now, it has changed so much since I started, and that's really when the internet took off late 90s, and I got my start at RKR in Kalamazoo classic rock station in 97, 98, right after I graduated from Western Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
And I just worked my way up. I started as an intern. Then it was overnights on the weekends from like midnight to 6 a.m. And then you do weekend afternoons, and you do fill in, and then I was the full time overnight guy, and then they promote me to nights and imaging director, and then I had an issue with the general manager, the new GM at the time, who was a I've since in my head forgiven him, but at the time he was a douche, and I think you know who he was. I think
Probably,
you
yeah.
had you had I think not necessarily a good experience with him, but I left there. I went out to California. I had a morning show out there for like a year, and that was just it was just not my scene. I mean, I texted you yesterday, or I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, about having that conversation with the ex
Yes.
stripper in the bar about how overrated Taylor Swift was.
Yes.
Where and then you mentioned that you had done a voiceover for a strip club, and I started thinking that's right. I used to do when I was in California remote broadcasts from a place called the First Amendment Gentlemen's Club, and it was like it was an every Thursday thing, and doing a promo for that, talking about how much I liked it's like, okay, here it was already written. It's like, and I had that was the first time I used a fake radio name. They're like, we got to come up with a name for you. So they came up with Casper, because I was like, I was average Joe white guy. Let's give him the friendly ghost name for whatever reason. And it's like, yeah, I'm Casper from the Z-Rock Morning Show, and I like boobs. And if you like boobs like I like boobs, come and join me at the First Amendment Gentlemen's Club Thursday night, half price. And it was like, how many times can you throw boobs in there? But
a lot.
Yeah, a lot. But it was, I mean, and I met some cool people out there, but it wasn't my scene. I'm a Midwest guy, so I came back to Grand Rapids and Kalamazoo, and I actually I came back to RKR and did like a guest with Todd on his New Year's Eve show, and that's where I really kind of got to know you a little bit.
Probably
because I think there were more than a few beverages involved, but it was a
absolutely
it was a fun New Year's Eve evening, and I thought she seems pretty cool, and then something
cool.
happened. Yeah. Okay.
Just kidding.
Okay. I didn't want to give you a big head. Okay?
Yeah. I mean, we just, yeah. There was probably, I was a little wild back in my 20s, Lloyd.
Back in your
I wasn't as chill.
Your undomesticated days.
Yes.
You were like a feral cat.
I was.
I feel like I could have guessed that you were a little more wild, Josh.
Really, Lloyd? You think so? You think you could tell?
I feel like, here's the thing, right? Except for myself, evidently, everybody has that experience.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes. Yours will come later.
You don't have any ghosts or skeletons that you want to unload?
No, not really. I'm the oldest of 7.
Okay.
He's responsible.
Mm-hmm. That makes You know what? That makes perfect sense. I'm the 6th of 8, so I got lost in the shuffle, so I can do pretty much whatever.
Well, it's funny because a friend of mine, I was talking about like when people have weed and edibles and stuff like that, whatever. And I was talking about how like I've always listened to like certain people in my life, like, older family members, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And somebody was talking about the first time they had an edible and they were like in their 40s, right? And in my head, I'm like, why am I listening to this person who didn't know for themselves until they were in their 40s?
Right. Yeah.
And one of my friends is like, they waited until their 40s. And I'm like, yeah. And like, that's 12 or so. Well, I'm 29, so 11, 12 years from now for me. But they're like, I had done that when I was like 17, and I'm just like, why is everybody so weirded out by the fact that, mind you, if you're in my age group and you did it when you were 17, it wasn't legal. So why is it so surprising that I didn't go break the fucking law?
Right,
Why
that's
am I
true.
the odd one out here?
Right, I know that's actually very true.
Yeah.
It's legal in California, right? Legal in it's also legal in Nevada. That's where he's at.
Yeah.
He's in
It's
Vegas.
legal. It's legal in
Oh,
Michigan.
it's legal in Michigan.
Yeah,
It's not
yeah.
legal in Florida. What's up, Florida?
That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any
you guys
sense.
you guys are fleeing alligators left and right. You got to have something to take the edge off.
Did you see the alligator that was walking down the street when I was walking my dog? I posted a clip of it on Instagram. There was a baby alligator walking down the street, and I'm like, what in the Sam hell is that? And I'm like, holy shit, that is a baby alligator. And it stopped at the stop sign, and I'm like, keep going. And then it went across the street and went under someone's car. And I'm like, should I go ring their doorbell and tell them that that's like underneath their car? But I'm like, I don't think I want to get any closer to the alligator.
You don't get involved in that situation.
I think that's a no.
No.
I mean, I just hope that if an alligator goes under your car, somebody in your neighborhood would take their time to come tell you. You know?
I was hoping that it probably removed itself from underneath the car. But okay, so I want to know. So you were so funny. Like, I want to hear about the stripper at the bar in the middle of nowhere. And like I want to know what your argument was, because you are hilarious on social media. You always create these like hysterical, like, this versus this, or like I have these bold comments about like, I will take Blink-182 any day, or not this band. So you're always stirring the pot.
Well, yeah, I like to stir the pot on shit nobody really cares about. That's But so this one, and she was I don't know how we got into the conversation about her being a former stripper, but she was talking about Taylor Swift, and I brought up the fact I think Taylor Swift she's decent. She's got a good voice. Yeah. Decent voice. She doesn't have like the vocal range of
Mariah Carey.
Mariah Carey. I've said this before. I said this on TV once during I don't even know what the context was. Why? Oh, it's because Taylor Swift was in Detroit doing a show, and we're in Grand Rapids, so we were talking about Taylor Swift. I said, I've said this before. It bears repeating. Every Taylor Swift song would sound better if sung by Carrie Underwood. Yeah. She's got a far better voice. I mean, Miley Cyrus has a better voice. Katy Perry has a better voice. It doesn't mean I don't begrudge Taylor Swift's success at all. I just think she shouldn't be the number one performer on planet Earth right now, and she is, and I don't get it. And maybe that's part of being old. Maybe that's part of not being a woman, or I don't know what it is. I actually had the opportunity. I interviewed her as like the fourth wheel on a morning show doing traffic. I was doing traffic for about half a dozen stations when I got into it back in like 2002 or 2003. And the guy at the country station, hey, Dave, you want to be part of the Taylor Swift interview? And she was a senior in high school at the time.
Oh my God.
She had just broken. I thought she was a nice kid and everything. I didn't get it then, and I don't get it now. But she might be the most powerful woman in the United States. Yeah. It's possible. And for the life of me, I can't understand exactly why.
I don't know. For me, like, I go right to voiceover. They always talk about how like it's so competitive, just like the music industry is. And it's all about just the voice and the person that's listening's head. And if for whatever reason, like her voice must sort of resonate. I mean, did you hear about girls actually like, I don't know, like losing parts of their like night when they went to her concert?
They were wearing diapers. They were wearing diapers at her concert so they wouldn't miss a song.
No, but they were saying that like they like hypnotized. They got hypnotized or something, and they like missed a whole chunk of their evening. And I'm thinking, well, I don't think I want to go to a Taylor Swift concert and get hypnotized and then not, balk like a chicken or something. Like I don't want to do that.
It's just, there are certain parts of contemporary culture that just I can't wrap my head around. I don't get it.
I was going to say earlier, I think it's interesting that you left Kalamazoo and went to California and came back to Kalamazoo. And you realized, like, right after you left to California and came back, I think I left and went to California and then came back. Because I went out to California for about like 3 to 6 months. I think I was trying to find myself, but it's like
Yeah.
one of those things where you hit the
Mm,
Pacific Ocean and you're
right.
like, where
You think
now
you're gonna
where?
find, you
Yeah,
think
now
you're gonna
where?
find answers, and you
Zero.
don't. It's
No.
like, it was a great experience. I don't regret doing it.
Yeah.
But it just wasn't for me.
It wasn't for me either. Yeah. I mean, it's a whole different, California is a whole different beast.
It's like a different country. It
Yeah.
really is. I mean, there's so many cultures inside the American culture in California, and you get that in different parts of the country too. But it was just a little too out there for me.
Yeah.
And again, I'm the salt of the earth type of fella, Joz. It's just how I roll.
I know.
I think it's hilarious because my like single reference for the Midwest is North Dakota.
That is perfect.
That's a little.
I was
too
in
cold.
North Dakota for 8.5 years.
And there's like 9 people in North Dakota, and they should combine North and South Dakota. The fact that we haven't done that yet is ridiculous. They got like
your graduating class, 13 people.
Yeah.
I'm like, what do you mean, 13 fucking
13 fucking people in your.
I mean, it depends on the towns they were in.
Yeah.
If this were the 1800s and people were dropping dead of dysentery, that would make sense. But yeah, that's 30. Yeah.
I love how, okay, so you went from Kalamazoo to California back to Kalamazoo, and then how did you get into TV? I'm always interested in hearing, the journey, because, everybody has their own little story about how they fell into radio, TV, or getting into voiceover. I mean, that's how Lloyd and I met. We met training out in Las Vegas, because of COVID and virtually. Right. And yeah, so how did you get into TV?
Well, I was doing traffic. When I came back to Kalamazoo and Grand Rapids, I got a part-time job at the classic rock station in Grand Rapids, 101.3, and then I actually started substitute teaching at the time too. So I was I was molding young minds, and that's what America's young people really needed.
That's scary.
You want to? I threatened to throw a 6th grader out the window.
No.
I swear to God, he was just giving me too much. He was just giving me shit, wouldn't stop. I said, listen, punk, I'm not a real teacher. I'm a substitute. I will chuck you out the window, and they're not going to do a damn thing to me.
Yeah.
And after that, I wasn't asked back, but
I'm sure. That's good. They can't do that now.
Now there would probably be a prosecution or something.
Yeah.
But that was the early 2000s. You could make idle threats to 12-year-olds with pretty much, and not really worry about
any punishment, right? Yeah.
That was
You can't get away with that now.
No. But so I was back just working part-time at the classic rock station, but then there was a guy down the hall who was working at the CHR station, and he was also doing traffic. He's like, we need more traffic reporters. This was like 2002-ish. So I went down, interviewed for that, just started doing it, and then I was on, before I knew it, I was on like half a dozen stations just doing that. And then we had been doing traffic for TV 13, where I'm at now.
Yeah.
We had a woman doing it. Then we went through 3 or 4 other people, and I wasn't even thinking about doing it. And then there were I think it was like 2006. There was just a ton of cuts across the board. I was temporarily laid off and then brought back.
Yeah.
And then I was like the only one of like 7 or 8 people in the traffic center that survived, and they brought me back. And then I had to also they needed me to do TV, the traffic reports for TV 13. So I was doing that at first as voiceovers. Then they moved me over to the station, and then they saw me like, oh, you could be on camera. I said, oh, cool. Yeah, I'll do it. And that started in like 2009, I think, was the first time I did it. And it was just a really,
did you like it?
I did. It was fun. And everybody, and I've worked with about 4 or 5 different incarnations of the morning news team. And when I started, everybody was kind of like my age or maybe just a little bit younger. Now I am like the old man. I'm like everybody's uncle.
You're the grandpa.
I'm the Well, see, I'm going to go with uncle. You can say grandpa and age me a little more. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, it was funny because we've got this great meteorologist, Sam Jacks, who it wouldn't shock me if she eventually replaces Ginger Z on Good Morning America. She's that good, but
Oh,
she's
wow.
really, really super young. So I was talking to one of the producers who's around my age who went to Western. We were talking about the old times, going back to Bourbon Street in Kalamazoo
Oh, yeah.
for dollar, dollar
Dollar
drafts, dollar
pictures, yeah.
pictures,
Yeah.
and back in 1997, and she was listening, and she goes, yeah, I was one.
Oh my God, that's a little bit better than the
I
Lloyd
was,
age.
Yeah,
You weren't
yeah.
even
So,
you
I
weren't
was
even
4.
born. Oh,
I
you
was
were
born in
4.
93.
yeah.
Lloyd could be my son.
God, yeah, I know. That's the thing is, she could. Yeah, this one could be my daughter, and we give
So you're like the goat. You're like the original,
yeah,
basically.
kind of, yes.
Yes, you're
Pretty
the
much.
original.
So yeah, it's been funny. It's the transition from radio to TV, and I still do radio traffic reports out here too. I pre-record those, and they go out to like 7, 8, 9 stations
Oh, wow.
around town here. So it's really, it's like with any job, it becomes turning wrenches, and all you do is you just whatever's asked of you, you just do it.
Right.
That's how you stay employed, especially now. Back in the day, you could just do one thing. Now, I mean, you got to have, because I've also got a podcast that I do with a guy I did radio with for years, Andy O'Reilly,
Okay.
called the Andy and Dave Daily. We do it on the Muskegon channel. He's based in Muskegon, and he just started his own website and his own thing. And we did it for free. We did it for free for years, and now it's decent supplementary income because we got a lot of sponsors and stuff. And it's just like a 20 minutes, just like a 20-minute newscast. I'll do the news. He'll throw in a little bit of commentary. We'll do back and forth because I mean we had chemistry. We were on the radio for years. So because I used to do news for him back when I was doing traffic. Because when I was doing traffic before I came to TV 13, I was also doing news for some stations.
Yeah.
In fact, I did news for the only black radio station in town at the time, which was what was it? It's like 1040 Jams or something like that.
Yeah.
That was my second fake name. I came up with Haystack. It was kind of a euphemism for white people. For it was just looks like a stack of hay, and it was. And I remember having this conversation with my boss, who was interested because I do news and sports, and it was during the winter time, and he's like, Dave, how come you're not doing hockey scores or NASCAR? Because NASCAR just started started for the season, and hockey was going. I said, dude, black people don't give a shit about hockey or NASCAR. They just don't. Come on, you got to know your audience. That's the other thing. I mean, you want to stay employed. You got to know who your audience is, and that's
that's true.
Give anybody advice. That's a big thing.
No, that's a big point though too. Like the whole yes and like you have to be open to being, open to projects, open to trying new things. Like I just interviewed and did a first like sort of episode for a potential like true crime podcast, and I had originally auditioned for like an audio drama centered around true crimes. And anyways, it unfolded into like this different kind of project. And I'm like, gosh, I'm not really into all of that. But at the same time, yes. And like, I want the experience and I know how to podcast. I know how to be a character. I know how to talk. And, if I have stuff that I can research, I know I can be, a good part to the podcast. So you just have to try it, and you're right. And you do have to know your audience. And so I was talking to a girlfriend of mine and I was like, I think I'm going to be auditioning for this true crime podcast. I'm not really sure. And she's like, I love true crime. And she was telling me all about it and she's following his Facebook stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, now I know my audience. It's all women love true crime.
Absolutely.
And she was telling me all about why she loves it. She loves the facts and she loves the drama and she wants to know like what happened. And I'm like, okay. What are you going to say, Lloyd?
Oh, I was just going to ask if you're going to, because I know you don't like anything that's like kind scary. Of gruesome or scary. Are you actually going to listen to yourself?
That's interesting that you said that. And it's
you don't like scary? You don't
I don't like the psychological thrillers. I was on an audio drama and it was a scary one. That's what Lloyd's referring to. I just did a bit part.
Okay.
Yeah. And I was the mom at the very end and I was like, go ahead, Lloyd.
Her character, it's heavily implied that she's about to die.
Yeah. And it was at the end. It was
It's this whole thing about this kid who has an imaginary friend who kills people that denies it exists.
Yeah, I just fast
And
forwarded through all that and just did my part.
and then
Just
at the
listened to my
end
part.
the friend gets like the kid that
Possessed.
person dies, and the imaginary friend latches on to another kid.
Who's my
That kid
kid?
gets put
Okay.
into a foster home, which is her.
I'm
And
the mom.
and then she's like, oh, it's okay, nothing's wrong, there's nothing there. And it's like, oh well,
Yeah.
you said it.
Yeah.
You said it.
For some reason, true crime and that kind of stuff loves my voice and my texture of voice, and it's probably because it's deep and raspy, I'm
Oh
sure.
yeah,
But
100%.
yeah,
You got the perfect voice for voiceovers. You just like the car. I think I heard the spec of a car commercial you did. It was
yeah,
perfect.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
It was so good. And I don't know if it's the raspy. You know, were you a former smoker?
Yeah, I smoked cigarettes a
100%.
long time
Yeah,
ago.
of
But
course. I think that because you can't. I don't know how you can't
yes, I
train
did.
somebody. You can't train somebody to have that voice. I don't know. You can coach people on inflection and all that type of thing, but that sound, I
Yeah.
don't know that. I think you're either born with it or you create it through Camel Lights.
Maybe she was born with it. Actually,
Yeah.
I think I was quite born with it. I've always
Yeah.
had like a deeper, raspier voice. I mean, I remember talking to friends that, in high school, and they're like, I could just fall asleep to your voice. I'm like, I don't know how to take that, but okay.
That's okay.
And
Depending
but
on who that could come off as a tad creepy, depending
it's a
on
little bit creepy. But
like
I'm
if one of
glad
your
that
teachers said it, that would be a little weird.
right, yeah. And I'm glad that my former smoking has contributed to
Yeah, there you
my future success. So that there you go.
Well, I mean, you
Absolutely.
said you were born with it, so I don't know.
I know, might have enhanced it, but it's not about me. But anyways, but you're right about like knowing your audience, knowing who you're talking to, and whether it's in radio or TV, and that's like super important.
And knowing your role too, on whatever part of the business you're in. If you're on a morning show, you're like, for me, I've been a co-host, I've been a main host. When you're the main host, you got to kind of drive everything. When you're the co-host, you got to pick your spots. And like doing traffic for TV news, I'm like the fourth banana. I'm like the comedy relief to an extent, because you can have fun with traffic unless there's a fatality, then you got to put on your serious voice. But it's you're kind of the I'm kind of like the dancing monkey. It's like whatever you want here, go ahead, throw Dave in this. It's
And I think you need
I
to
give
go
it to
where
you.
the energy flows too,
Right.
and like when opportunities arise, you have to kind of take them and see where they take you. I've done a lot of different things for free, and I've done things for just credits, and now
Right.
obviously I do things to get paid as well. But like I think it's so fun that you're on TV. Like I would have never pegged you for like a TV traffic. And okay, so please explain to me about the fuzzy bras. Like please explain to me about that. Like
see, that's
Lloyd.
one of the cool things that I've gotten to do over the years is these certain charity events. There's one out in Muskegon I do that is a benefit for kids with developmental disabilities, and that's awesome. It's really kind of like life affirming. But the bra thing, that's a breast cancer benefit that I do every October.
Okay.
Out in Holland, Michigan. And it just raises awareness for breast cancer, and I co-host it and I model in it. So I come out in a bra and boxer shorts,
Nice.
and I'll be introing the guys, and you bid on their packages, and then I do it. Although last year was the last year I was going to be modeling. I figure I'm 50, and I'm 51 years old now. At 50, I gotta call it a career with that, because it's going to start to get creepy if I keep trying to hang on. Although I tell you, the Holland soccer moms get very handsy, and they start because you got to go around. You do your thing, and then you go around to the tables because you're trying to get money, you're trying to raise money, and then they're stuffing ones into your boxers, and it's just sometimes they'll reach down a little too far. And we got and I have to give the same warning every year. You said let's not go below the equator, ladies. Let's
keep your hands to yourselves.
Well, no, not completely, because you got to put the money in, but just But
those wild soccer moms.
Oh God.
Well, they're
great. Yeah, it's geez. So, I believe it was like 72 $1 bills I pulled out.
Oh my God! From your package.
Yes,
I love it. I love it.
Oh,
So
God.
when I was reading your bio, you said single dad, 25 years in broadcasting. You went from Kalamazoo to California, back to Southwest Michigan, and then you said like you're a 43-year vomit
No vomit
no
streak.
vomit streak. Which
It's
I
one of
think
the
is
most
hilarious.
impressive things about me. It's as sad as that may be. I have not thrown up since I was 8 years old in 1980. I got off and for some reason I remember that day vividly, and I don't know if it's become like, because I started to get around like 11 or 12, I started to almost get a phobia about it, like I was afraid to have that happen.
Yeah.
So that could be part of it. But yeah, I'm like, even drinking, I never, because I've always been kind of an all things in moderation guy.
Yeah, me too.
So I can usually stop myself at four or five, and that would be kind of like my limit. And I've never had, although I did get roofied one time, so I didn't know. It didn't happen then either, but I ended up passed out on a bathroom floor. And that was a little odd. But
so what if you get sick? Are you just like,
it doesn't happen? Like it won't. Like I've had dry
you have
heat.
You have a kid. I was gonna say, like,
and that's what's weird. Like he's not much of a puker either.
Stuff.
Yeah. But I think everything that I've been exposed to over the years maybe has given me, because I never got COVID. And I had this happened, I think, not too long after we came back, because we had I was doing traffic reports for like a year and a half from my bedroom. It was awesome. It was, I got to sleep in, didn't have to, pay for gas or anything. But then we come back, and I don't know, month or two in, the new anchor Jay, we were doing some bit. I can't remember what it was, but I put my hand over his mouth.
Yeah.
And he tested positive for COVID that day. Now, after I put my hand over his mouth, I actually had a sandwich without washing my hands. I remember doing that. And so it was, never got it.
Oh my God, you must have like the immunity of like,
I don't know.
Like
I don't eat that great, but I'm fit, but
yeah, you said you're what, like a meat eater and a vegetable,
yeah.
What is it?
Abolitionist. I don't believe in vegetables. I don't believe in vegetables or fruit. Broccoli and green beans are okay. Potatoes are not a fruit. It's not a vegetable. It's a starch.
Yeah.
And then fruit, like I've never eaten an entire apple. I don't like the texture of any fruit.
Interesting.
It's just weird and kind of gross.
So that's like weird. Yeah. That's a little bit weird. I'll admit to you, I've never had a fast food hamburger.
Okay, how is that
entire
possible?
Life. Well, first of all, I didn't eat a lot of red meat anyways. And then I only ate chicken into college, and then in college I became a vegetarian. But that means like just a lot of beer, cereal, and pizza and ramen noodles, and not very healthy. And then I started eating chicken again, and then like I gave up eating all that. And like I just never had a fast food hamburger in my entire life. And I don't think I ever ate a Twinkie until I was an intern at a Detroit rock radio station.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and they told me in the Detroit market with you remember Drew and Mike?
Yeah, Drew. Oh yeah,
I was an intern there. Yeah,
oh my God.
And then they had an alternative station that I was an intern first there, and then they shared me. That sounded weird, but anyway, so they went and bought a bunch of Twinkies and made me eat it on the air, because when you're an intern, you do anything really.
Of course.
Yeah, but like I had a lot of food allergies when I was growing up, so my diet was very restricted.
Okay.
So and my dad,
That's odd, because like you're younger than me, but not much. And because you're still Generation X, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So,
Lloyd would have to double check the fact check us. Fact check us.
Yeah, but we didn't. Ours wasn't really the peanut allergy or the food allergy generation. That kind of was more like the millennials kind of brought that on, and now nobody can have peanuts on airplanes anymore.
Well, the thing is that like every time I ate something, I would puke. Speaking of like the no vomit, and so like it got to a point where our parents, the generation of like the baby boomers, they still smoke and drank when they were pregnant, and
my mom smoked through all 8 pregnancies. We were all fine.
Yeah, same thing with my mom. I mean, I don't know if I'm actually totally fine, but I mean, it's
we don't know. Who knows?
The jury's still out.
So far,
we're fine. But
most people who say I turned out fine just got used to dealing with things they shouldn't have to deal with.
You know what? That's
voice of reason. That's my voice of reason right there.
See, Lloyd knows where to pick his spots. That's what I'm talking about.
Lloyd is the voice of reason, and he knows a lot of fun facts that nobody else knows. That's why he's here.
Oh my.
That's
I don't know why I
perfect.
say oh my so much now. I realize I do that a lot.
Let's
It's just random.
No, you're good. Anyways,
don't overthink it.
my mom would just be like, why do I, every time I feed you, you puke? And I was so little, I didn't know. So like the allergy thing was not like at the top of any doctor's
Right.
minds at that point. So yeah, I had some like food allergies, which was
Okay.
not really a thing back in the day. But anyways,
No.
moving along. I think that's hilarious that you haven't puked. I'm trying to think like, when's the last time I puked? I'm like, let's not talk about it because I don't
Yeah.
want to bring that on.
Yeah.
I don't want to bring that on.
I
So
can't remember any specific times I threw up except one time when I was in the 7th grade. I got a stomach virus, and I know how I got it. I was riding my bike to school one day, and you're supposed to walk across crosswalks. You're supposed to walk your bike across the street, whatever. And this car comes like around this corner, so I hit my brakes, fly off my bike, and like go through like the like gutter water.
oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah, you
gross.
got some sort of bacterial
And
something.
Mhm.
yeah, and I had forgotten my house key. So I just like went to school feeling gross and terrible.
Oh, man.
And like the next day I threw up 21 times.
Oh my God.
And
Were you counting every single one?
I could see him doing that, yeah.
We're to 14.
I thought I was gonna die. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh God.
I threw up 21 times, and I
love that we're
double-headed dragon twice.
Oh,
oh
jeez.
my God.
I was crying because I started like when you don't have anything left in your stomach, you're
Yeah.
just throwing up bile. And
Yeah.
at the time I thought it was stomach acid, and bile burns.
Oh yeah.
So I thought like I'm like at the home by myself waiting for my granddad to come pick me up, and I'm just like, my throat's gonna get burned out by his stomach acid before he gets here. I'm gonna die in the bathroom.
I love
it was
when
miserable. And then
Aww.
I was like a pseudo germaphobe for years after.
Do you guys have anything like random like that? Like besides like vomiting and stuff like that? Like I'm just thinking like, do you guys have any like random things that you're like, oh my God, I've never done this or I've never had this or
That
like
that's a good question. I mean, I have a fear of heights, but that's normal. But random thing that I have, God. Well, going back to it because I've eaten a ton of fast food, but I had my first quarter pounder when I was like 47. It's the first time I ever had a quarter pounder from McDonald's. So
Okay.
because I would eat basically the same. I would eat shit, but I'd eat the same shit, and I wouldn't overdo it.
right.
Pretty much. So that's. But I'm trying to think if there's anything random that I haven't. Oh,
This is,
I've never been to Canada. I've never been out of the United States.
Canada?
Never lived in Michigan most of my life. Never been out of the country. Never been to Canada.
you don't have to have like going to Canada is a very specific experience that not most Americans experience.
Well,
if you're in an area of the country that's close to it,
Like
Right.
Detroit.
more
Detroit
likely,
was easy for us to
Yeah.
go. Yeah.
but
Well, I would like it, people who, Joz, you know this. Lloyd, you may not. There are two peninsulas in the state of Michigan. You have the upper and you have the lower. I've never been to the Upper Peninsula.
Never?
Never had any interest. I don't know why. We never took trips up there when I was a kid. It just wasn't. It wasn't like now it's like a destination spot for people in the state, especially during the summertime. But it just wasn't something as a family we did. It was just nowhere that I felt compelled to go.
So have you only been to Michigan and California?
No. I've been to Florida. I've been through most of the 50 states. But part of my mindset has always been, a lot of people die just trying to come here. I feel like I'm in the 1% just being born here anyway. Yeah. So I just don't have any interest in international travel. My son, who's 13, just went on a trip with his mom and her family to Europe. Yeah. They were so he's far more traveled than I am at this point.
You have a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
I have an almost 13-year-old.
Yeah.
That's my middle.
Oh my God. Insanity.
Yeah. My middle.
Is it boy or girl?
It's a boy, and he's a Scorpio, and he likes to mess with me big time. Like big time. I mean, he's on one of my chaos. Like he's hilarious. Like he messes with me all the time. he wanted to try like the hard pressed juice, like immunity shots that we buy, and they're not non-alcoholic, obviously.
Yeah.
And then so we couldn't open it. So we finally opened it and he drank it and he's like, this tastes like toilet water. I'm like, how do you I don't even want to know.
Yeah.
Because you
Yeah.
can
How do you
smell
know?
toilet water.
Yeah.
How do
If
you
you run
know
the toilet
what
long
toilet
enough,
water
you can
tastes
smell
like
it.
and taste it? He said this is what his
that's what most of your sense of taste comes from, is your sense of smell.
but this is what his response was. I ate a jelly bean. And I'm like, okay, I can
Still not
rationalize
making,
that.
yeah.
Well, I mean, no, because like the Harry
They meant, like,
Potter
the weird-
jelly-
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, go ahead.
Going
No.
going back to your question, Joz, and this is related, but also a rewind, because I wanted to ask this when you were talking about Taylor Swift. How do you feel? Are you a big like internet meme person, Dave?
Not really, no. I'm fine with memes. I think some of them are cute and clever, but I'm not a big meme guy, no.
Okay, cool. So I can get an answer from you that makes sense, I think. How do you feel about Nickelback?
I like Nickelback. Underrated band. I don't know why people call them a guilty pleasure. My son, back when he had good musical taste, used to like Nickelback, used to like Hall & Oates. Now he doesn't want to hear any of that. It's, I mean, he's in, and I don't mind rap, but he's not even into the good, right? He's not even into the old school good stuff. He's not into Snoop. He's not into Tupac. He's into, I mean, I don't know what half of this is, but
I know the name.
but no, Nickelback. Nickelback. They wrote catchy songs, and for some reason, people shit on them for it.
Yeah, it's
Maybe
the
it's because
internet.
they're from Canada.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It's the internet. I've completely come to
There's
terms
no
with the
reason
fact
for
that
it.
as people were like, we're gonna make a meme out about how they're basic, and everybody's gonna jump on that bandwagon. Which brings me back to answering Joz's question,
Yes.
in which I've never been to a concert.
Really?
But-
What? Wow, that's even more random than my burger.
Wow.
Never having a
In
fast food burger.
3.5 hours, I'm going to go see Nickelback in concert.
You are
Wait,
like
you're
actually
going to
for
wait,
real?
You
Stop,
are going to
just
see.
hold the train.
You're going to see Nickelback.
Right. Yeah, one of my friends
It's
is
so
just
random.
like, hey, who wants to go to this concert? It's $30. They're like shitty seats, but hey, it's $30.
Mhm.
I was like, fuck it, I've never been to a concert. I don't dislike Nickelback.
Lloyd. Yay.
This will be a
So-
fun experience for you.
I
Yeah.
really let-
Or maybe it'll suck. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Maybe,
I don't
who
want to give you. I
knows?
don't want to give you. I don't
yeah,
want
let's be
give you too
open
high
to
an
it. Yes,
expectation.
I've had
Yeah.
a good week so far. So I mean, like legitimately last night, I was like, this was one of the best nights of my life. So if tonight is like a midnight, I guess it'll
Mhm.
balance out my weekend.
Okay, just don't take any gummies for the first time at your first concert. I don't want to know.
Although
about
you know, Nickelback, a little 5-10 milligram,
it. Yeah.
might add to the experience. We don't know.
Yeah, I'm glad you had a good night last night though, because we'll have to talk about that after off camera. But
Okay.
because I want to hear more about that. Like on Nickelback, that like I'm thinking the one band that I cannot stand is REM. I hate REM. I don't know why I have such a loathing towards REM, but it's just always stuck. And the one thing that my husband and I agree on a lot of things, and he also agrees with that. I'm like, no wonder we've been together for almost like 20 years. We've been together for 22 years. Dave, actually, you were there the night that I went and met him out.
Really?
Yeah, because remember we were all hanging out at the house that I was living in, and you
Oh,
and John and we were all
okay.
hanging out, and then I was like, you guys, I'm gonna go meet this person, and I was like, you guys want to come with me? And we all went to the piano bar.
Oh
in
yeah.
downtown
Okay.
Kalamazoo.
Right.
And that's
Aw.
that was my man babe. Like
Oh my God.
22 years later. So we got
And-
married.
Wow. And that comment I made 20 plus years. Meanwhile, I was engaged and I ended that. And
Oh, really? You were
that was,
engaged?
well, that was when, that's how that's where my son came from. So we get along great. Now we get along great. Now that we're not together, we've been apart now for a decade and we get along great. I was actually house sitting for her family, for her parents. Well, everybody was in Europe. So
Well, look at that. You found your
wow.
perfect ex-wife. There
yeah,
you go.
it ended up great. So
Yeah. Never married again?
no, being a dad has been awesome. I love that.
It's
But
really
it's
hard,
one of those
though.
things, bringing somebody else in, like, and I've dated a lot since then.
Yeah.
I've never I kind of keep my dating life and my parenting life separate. At least, I mean, I guess I would never say never, but
Yeah.
the interesting thing is I've never had a bad date. I've never
Really?
had a bad. I'm not good at maintaining relationships. It's the maintenance part. It's a job you got to work at. I'm like, I'm not getting
Yeah.
paid for this. I don't really want to work. If it feels like work, it to me, you're probably not with the right person. If it feels like work, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's something where you just need to put effort into it. And if that's the case,
No, I think you need to align with the right person and have to, like, I found with, like, I never dated. I just kind of
you
like,
went you were a relationship girl.
I know, I never really,
Really? Or
I don't know. I
well,
never
you didn't date.
No, I mean, I
And now you're
dated, but I didn't really date. Like, I didn't date long term. I was a
okay.
short-term dater.
Yeah. Oh,
But I
I was
dated,
the same way.
yeah,
Mhm.
until the man babe. And then, like, I think, like, because we went on vacation together, and because we
Mhm.
vacationed the same, and, like, we kind of hit the strong points in a
Yeah.
relationship, meaning, like, religion, family, money,
Mhm.
and, like, we could vacation
Those are big.
together. Yeah. And, like, he doesn't like REM. So I was like, okay, what were you gonna say,
Yeah.
Lloyd?
I think the sentiment that if it feels like work, I don't agree with that sentiment only because people all over the world are doing shit they don't want to do.
Right.
But that doesn't mean they don't want to work. It just means they don't
Yeah.
want to be doing there are people whose jobs, like people who want to fucking sew, but they would just sew blank or scarves, right? But they
Yeah.
can't make enough money.
Right.
So, but that's work, right?
Yeah.
That's something they would like to do. It's just gotta feel like work you would like to be doing.
Yeah. That would
Exactly.
probably be a better way to work. Like, are you willing to put the effort in?
Yeah.
Which I think is, like,
And
coming back to the whole creative stuff, like being in radio, being in TV,
yeah.
doing voiceover stuff. You have to put in the effort, you have to put in the
Yeah.
work, but, like, it's fun, which is
Yeah.
also, like, what I think Lloyd's saying. When you find the right person to date, you have to put in the work and
Yeah.
the time, but, like, it's still fun, right?
Right.
From a career perspective, these are, we have get to jobs, not got to jobs. You get to do this.
Yeah.
And that's what's kept me doing it. Because the thing is, truth be told, I'm not exactly a firing cauldron of passion for work or relationships or anything else.
No.
I like if it's no, seriously, I know it's shocking.
I'm very shocked.
But it's been fun. It's like, even when it's better than any other job for the most part you can have.
Yeah.
And most people get up and they go to jobs they don't want to do. They don't want to be there. They want to collect a check. They want to provide for their family, and that's great. I have the utmost respect for that. But I also understand that I'm in a unique position where I get to do what I do, and I can continue doing it. And
have fun. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's a blast. I mean,
It's
and
so much
everybody I
fun.
work with, I don't hang out necessarily a lot with people I work with. I do occasionally, but I have enough fun with them at work. Also, I'm old and I don't like to stay out late anymore. And I get up, I get up at 4 a.m. Monday through Friday. So
Oh my God.
it's just, my life consists of, working out 3-minute cold showers every morning, 5-hour energy, and Subway. So
It's Subway. I don't like Subway at all. Like, I was a total Jimmy John's girl when I ate bread and meat. I have to tell you, your bio is hilarious. It was almost like a dating app bio that you sent me, which was fun, so funny. I want to know, like, whenever I think of like TV and newscaster and traffic reporting, like, is it like, do you have to like maintain your looks and like maintain do you do you have like a tanning schedule and like
no, well, I have fake baked. I have done that, but during the summertime I'm out in the sun a lot, even though I don't. My son likes to be out. I wear touch-up makeup occasionally. If I get a blemish somewhere, I do it, because especially once HD became the thing, the more makeup you wore, the worse it looked.
Really?
Just because it would, like, you would cake it on,
and
you could kind of see that. So any makeup you put on, it would be subtle. But I very rarely wear makeup on TV. I usually just I stay relatively tan, and I'm not uber white anymore, so
You've aged well. You've aged well.
I'm
Not a lot of guys age well. You've aged well, though.
You know
I will
what?
tell you.
And I think it was at the comedian Bill Burr actually. I learned this from because Bill Burr, he's married to a black woman.
Yeah.
And she was talking about, she would always moisturize. So it's like you got to do that so your skin doesn't get ashy. And I thought that makes sense. You gotta, you need to moisturize.
Well,
and I've
especially
been doing
since you're
that. Yeah.
bald.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah. Once I gave up on the hair about 5 years ago, and I should have done it 10 years ago,
Yeah.
quite honestly, because you get it when you start, especially as a white guy losing your hair, you make these. And Lloyd, you don't have to worry. You got a thick head of hair, and I'm jealous
He's
of it.
young too. He's much younger than you.
But mine started thinning when I was younger than Lloyd was. That's when mine started to a little bit. But I started highlighting it. Like when I met you, I was highlighting
I remember that. Oh my God.
I was highlighting it. It was just and then you start to
90s.
pretend. Yeah, you start to pretend that the bald spot's apart, and it just keeps widening, and you fool yourself, and you're like, and then you finally come home, and then it's great because you basically stop aging. Because I'm going to look 50 years old when I'm 70. That's my goal.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's funny because my man babe, he just started. He was growing his hair out because we moved to Florida, and he's like, I need to have long hair, and I'm like, I'm sorry, babe, but your like hair is not thick and luscious. It's definitely not the long, but he's like he's adamant about doing it. And then he cut it all off, and then he tried to grow it back out again. It was even worse. And now he's to the point where he's not bald, but he's got
trimming it. You got that. That's
super tight.
You got to keep it. You got to keep it short and tight.
Yeah.
And then when the time comes, when it starts to, don't try and pretend what's happening isn't happening. Unless you can get like Tom Brady-esque hair transplants or Matthew McConaughey. Yes, and all that, like any guy who's been losing their hair knows Brady's had it done, McConaughey's had it done, Affleck's had it done. Yes. Tom Brady has thicker hair now at 45 than he did at 22.
Interesting.
You can go back and look at pictures. It's
I'll have to go back.
McConaughey's is really, really good. Because McConaughey's hair was relatively thin when he was doing Dazed and Confused in like 93. And you look at it now, and then it's
Yeah, Nick Cage, I think, had
Nicolas Cage did,
Yeah,
Nicolas Cage, his wasn't as good, but it's passable now. I mean,
so
and God bless him for doing it.
Yeah, so let me ask you, being in TV versus radio, like obviously there's a transitional phase there, like to get, because being just audio behind a mic versus being on camera, and I'm training to do on camera stuff. It's totally different.
It's completely different. Yeah.
Yeah, and so did you just have a hands-on training, or did you?
No, I just started doing like I knew because I would be at a green screen, and I have to I don't have a script. Well, I don't have a script either. I just know what I'm going to say when I go out there. Like I'm not reading off a teleprompter, which is a different skill. I had to do that for a while because we had to script out everything for closed captioning purposes, and the station at the time didn't want to pay for the closed captioning because it was uber expensive. So it became like some sort of weird FCC regulation where everything had to be scripted out for the closed captioning. And I don't want to be annoyed at deaf people, but it's like a little area. It was an extra part of my job that I had to do. That So that was weird the first time I had to read off a teleprompter because it's tougher than you think. Then you get used to it. It is a skill. And then because me and the meteorologist are the only ones who don't work with a script. The two anchors are they're reading and they're transitioning.
Fully scripted. Yeah,
it's fully scripted. So.
Interesting.
It's a completely different beast. But if you can do radio, I would say I think radio is more difficult to do and do well than TV is, especially when you're talking TV news. Yeah, I think because you can do kind of the occasional clever or funny thing on TV, especially like if you're the traffic guy, and people think you're like way more clever than you really are. Whereas in radio, especially if you're doing like a 3-hour show or something, you got to be on constantly, and it's constantly what's the next fun, interesting, or funny thing I can do here in this segment. So and then it's not like if you can do public speaking, you can do it because getting up in front of a large group of people, large audience, like I've done, doing those events, doing the charity events I do where there's hundreds of people. That's a little more nerve-wracking. That's than TV, where you're just looking to a camera. Now there may be hundreds or thousands of people watching, but you don't see them. It's not right in front of you.
Yeah.
So so it's it's like you take somebody like David Muir on the ABC News. That's a guy who could cut. He did the hardest work in his career when he was a producer or a news writer or just a regular reporter. I guarantee you, I don't know that he necessarily does this, but he could, if he wanted to, roll into ABC at 6:29 and have his ass out of there at 7:01. He could easily do that because everything, it's all written, it's all prepared for him. And he's just got to go boom, boom, boom. And he's got to do his serious David Muir voice and make you terrified of the next horrible thing that could happen.
Right.
And that's a skill. And I'm not crapping on, but it's performative.
Yeah.
So, and that's why he's the highest paid person in TV news, because he makes you afraid to miss what's coming up next, because everything is serious.
See, I don't like watching the news. No offense,
Yeah.
but I like it. Just being a mom and and having kids and stuff like that. I got to the point where it was like every morning I'd sit and watch the news and watch the Today Show, and it was like bad thing, bad thing, bad thing, and I was like, oh my God, I'm not leaving the house ever, and neither are my kids, and we're shutting down everything. And that was before everything really shut down a couple of years ago. But
well, that's
it's just, so now it's like I only get the big news from my husband because he stays on top of it. So if there's a hurricane coming, I know about it.
Right. And that's that's the big thing for you. It's hurricanes. It's your home, literally your home blowing away.
Yeah.
You don't. Yes. So that's the only thing you really need to, that and alligator attacks. Are the only things you need to really keep on top of.
Right.
The thing is, I mean, because we live in this 24-hour news cycle, and the news is old 15 minutes later, and it's the next new thing. And back in the day when we were growing up, you had the local news from 6 to 6:30. Then you had national news from 6:30 to 7, and then you had 11 o'clock. You had your 11 o'clock news, and that was it.
Yeah.
And truth be told, that's probably really all you need now. But you got to keep hammering things over and over and over again, nonstop. And it's
too much.
The reason, it is too much. The reason a lot of people are afraid to watch is because you get sold fear a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And not so much, and I'm not saying not so much with local news, although local news can. I think we do a good job of it here, not really delving off into that territory. But when you get to the national news networks and the cable news shows, they do have to scare you. There's a reason when the COVID pandemic came out, you looked at you'd go to CNN, and it was just a nonstop body count. It was
that's
nonstop.
why I had to turn it off.
Yeah, it's been, and you're not going to hear necessarily content. You're not going to see, oh wait, this person was 89, 92. And nothing against old people. I don't want anybody to die, but you leave out certain parts just because you want to keep eyeballs on screens. It's not lying really. It's just you're going to omit some things, or you're going to prop certain things up because you know what your audience is. Fox News does the same thing with their audience, or it's who's your audience. If you don't know your audience, you're going to lose your viewers. So it goes back. It all goes back to that, and that's why they do it. And it's a business. Yeah, just like anything else.
I feel like Lloyd
I think one thing, so I used to work at a news station. I ran cameras when I was in North Dakota. So I know a lot of people who.
The 13 people that were there listening to you. I'm just joking. Go ahead.
I know a lot of people who like have moved on from there and do news in like other places or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But I used to get really annoyed over the pandemic because people would be like, well, how come this didn't get any news coverage? And it absolutely did. You just didn't see it.
You didn't see it. Yeah.
And it's one of those things where people will be like, I try to explain to people, like, there's absolutely too much information for them to put on TV in the first place. So if you have an issue with it, go do the research yourself. And stop complaining.
And nobody wants to do that. See, that's right. You're right, Lloyd. People are lazy. People are lazy. They don't want to research it for themselves. They want to be told. They want to be told what they want to hear, and they want to be told what they need, what they believe they need to know.
And that's why you still have a job as a traffic reporter, because they want to know where they don't need to go and where they can go, so they can get there quick.
but hey, even at the end of the day, I could eventually be replaced by an app. So
I use Google Maps every time I go somewhere.
See, See, that's why
That's
you got to provide a little song and a dance, and I don't dance very well, so.
And that's why you have to be able to be open to doing lots of different things,
Yeah,
like being a team
exactly.
player. I think that's why I
Yeah.
survived in the radio industry.
Mhm.
I watched everybody go. All
Mhm.
the people that you and I know. I watched them get clipped
Yeah.
one after another. I actually brought my radio job down here to Florida virtually
Mhm.
and was broadcasting from my closet before I got into voiceover.
Yeah.
And I created that position for myself, and then radio left
And that's
me.
awesome. That's
I
what you've got. You're doing what people have to do. You can't really do what we did when we started out. It's
doesn't
better for
exist.
you. It doesn't exist. Do your thing. Figure out what your voice is, and then put it out there. There are several avenues you can use, social media wise, to get it out there. And you got YouTube, and you got any number of avenues to broadcast now. And God's honest truth, networks are going to become like dinosaurs. That's why that's why every news organization has a heavy online presence, because that's where it's all going.
Yeah.
And that's what you got to be able to do.
So I have a question for you. Whenever I think of like news and TV, I always go back to like Ron Burgundy and like,
Yeah.
and that the news anchor. We just watched that with my kids actually.
Oh, that was awesome.
The second movie was terrible. It
The
was like
you know what? Second movie was bad.
It was terrible. It was
I said,
terrible.
I'm not gonna go. I think that's too much hyperbole. I think it was bad. There's a difference between, because it was like it just wasn't as you couldn't really top the first. It's like if they try to make a sequel to Wedding Crashers.
Yeah,
you couldn't do that.
Yeah,
you couldn't do that and have it. It was a cash the check film. It's like, we're all going to get paid. We're going to do this. It's not going to be as good, and it was.
Interestingly enough, we watched the latest Ghostbusters movie that was like the Ghostbusters Afterlife. I don't know if you guys know this.
Oh, I've heard about, yes.
Yet another one. So, and we just watched it. And I was like, is this even part of the whole franchise? Like, I don't know. And then my husband's like, is this the all female cast one? And I was like, what is that supposed to mean, man, babe? And then that movie was
because you guys are afraid. I'm sorry, women are afraid of ghosts. It's science.
I know.
You've always been afraid. Come on.
Okay.
Check it. So anytime I've
stirring
ever
the pot. Stirring the pot, Dave.
I'm just saying. Wow. Who goes down to check the noise at the night? That might be a monster, might be an intruder, might be a ghost.
That is me.
Really?
Yes, I barbecue. I use power tools.
Okay, you know what?
I check for ghosts.
Fine.
I am the best non-ex-wife
You understand
ever.
what you are. You understand what you are.
I understand my audience too.
Yes, and you understand that you're an outlier.
I know I am.
And I salute you.
Just kidding.
For being an outlier and
but you should watch that movie though. That's one. I think the Ghostbusters Afterlife is probably one of the best sequel movies out there. And
I was wondering where you were going, because you totally started with not liking it.
Me?
Yeah, you were like, is this really?
No, I don't like the sequel to Anchorman.
We were talking about
I know,
sequels,
but Ghostbusters.
So coming back around, and we got a little carried away there. I meant to say that it is probably one of the best sequels in a franchise of movies that I've seen, even better than the other ones, that came before it. So anyways, and it's done a little bit more up to date, so, and they did a great job. So I would, and it's like a backstory too. So it's about one of the characters, but anyway.
Okay. Did you see the female Ghostbusters one?
Yes, I did.
Did you like it?
The only reason why I liked it is because of the cast members. They made it funny.
You had, it was a fairly strong female cast, but it's really hard when you had what the previous cast was. Because I even think Ghostbusters 2 was a decent sequel. It wasn't good, but it was decent.
Yeah. They had a bunch of marshmallow men in this last one. It was really cute. I want one. I want to have a little marshmallow man. Anyways, we're getting way off topic, but I want to know, Ron Burgundy, Anchorman, do you have any crazy behind the scenes stories where you're like fuck, or you're on camera and it's on air and you're like, oh shit.
There would be times where we're about to come back from a commercial break, and that's come close a few times, but I've never slipped and said fuck on TV. I said shit on the radio 2 different times, and it was I was doing sports, and Brett Favre was unretiring again. And I said, look, I don't give a shit about this. You don't give a shit about this. But I didn't even realize, I didn't even think, oh my God, we're on the air. I can't
Right.
say it. But that's a PG-13 swear. So that doesn't really, that's not really,
you can say it now.
I ended up getting fired, but I didn't get fired. Yes, I did. But that wasn't for that. It was from a culmination. It had something to do. The GM or the program director there had actually called me a cancer on the host's career before that had happened.
Wow.
He didn't like me because I didn't play. He was, I don't know.
There's some interesting people you come across in the broadcasting
I've come across
world.
some, yes. And it's, again, I've since forgiven him in my heart for that too. So bygones. I don't hold grudges. I don't think that's healthy or good for anybody. So
no, not at all.
It's part of the business. You deal with different personality types, and some, and that's the other thing you got to do. You got to be able to get along with people who hold power over you. And so I got to take a good part of the blame not being able to get along with that guy. But I've always prided myself pretty much in being able to get along with most people in general. And it was a couple of instances where I couldn't make those work relationships work.
Yeah. I think I try to tell my kids all the time, whether it's teachers or coaches or friends or people, and I've learned the hard way myself, being like a mom and running around in the mom circles. Like, there's always going to be somebody that you might not necessarily get along with, but you still have to be around, and you have to be, they're a part of the group, and there's ways of handling it, and you just have to be able to weather through it. And if you can't weather through it, or you can't be around that person, then you don't hang out in that group, and you hang out with the other people separately, and there's ways around it, but and you have to be able to like navigate those kinds of situations. And so Dave, I'm really happy that you came on tonight and like hung out with us.
It was fun.
I'm sure
it was a good time.
Good having you.
Yeah, so I appreciate it. You were trying to stir the pot, but that's I expected that.
I wasn't stirring pot. I was just saying words.
You're just dipping the spoon in and just swirling it around a little bit.
I don't stir it. I dip the spoon in, and if it starts to go round and round, it does. I can't be held responsible for that.
I'm just curious, was there one band that you don't like?
Because
you did not answer that question.
Oh, band I don't like?
Yeah.
I don't like Genesis.
Really?
Specifically, I don't like Phil Collins. His voice gives me a headache.
Oh my God.
I love,
In the Air Tonight is like my favorite song.
I can't.
I just crank it right up.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
Interesting.
And anytime we had to play Genesis on a 3 for Thursday back in the old RKR, I had to turn it down. I had to turn the volume down and just sit my head. Why are we playing this shit? What is going on? I can't.
Oh my God. I still remember trying to find, I still remember we went from carts. I'm going to age myself. Went from carts and putting the songs in the cart machine, and then you had the CDs in the jewel cases.
Yep.
And then they digitized everything, and then you didn't have, because I remember
you have to pull the stuff.
Hours of CDs, stacking them up, like hour 1, hour 2, hour 3, hour 4, and then you had to go in and like pull the carts for your bumpers and your spots and stuff, and like log it all, and then at the end of it, like it ended up being digitized, and I was like, what do I do with my time? Like, what do I do? How do I, it was, so.
You and I both need canes to shake at the young people. Back in
our day.
Lloyd, let me tell you, Lloyd.
We had to do some extra work.
I think I'll enjoy things being digital.
Yeah, there you go.
I have the chance.
Oh, I was just telling my kids the other day that, like, literally you talked about the news, and we can wrap on this. When we had to watch TV, and even back when I had my first is going to be 18. My oldest is 18.
God, are you kidding me?
No, he's going to go to college next year, Dave. This happens.
Good Lord.
I know, and I feel like I feel like it was 22 years ago.
I know.
But anyways, so I was like, when I had to watch TV when I first had you, it was like if I had a show at 9 o'clock, I wanted him down and in bed so I could be on, so I could watch my show, because if I missed it wasn't recorded.
Right.
And you couldn't just put it on when you watch it when you wanted to. And then I was thinking, when I was a kid, you got up in the morning and we had black and white TV.
Yeah.
Seriously, there was black and white TV. And then I remember when it went all color, And then like, when the show came on, that's when you watched it and then it was done. And then there was no overnight TV. Everything
Right.
shut
Oh,
down.
it shut down at like 2 a.m. 1,
Yeah,
something like that. You have the test pattern would come on.
You
Nobody's
had-
ever seen a test pattern that was born after like 1990.
Yeah. Lloyd's like, I have no idea what you're going
What are you people? What are you old people talking about?
You do know what we're talking about. No, he knows. He knows. He knows. He knows.
God, it's like I'm listening to my parents drone on.
Oh my!
That's Lloyd.
When your youngest was born, you could have used the VCR and recorded yourself.
Yeah, okay.
That's a whole thing.
You're right, but
Yes,
Lloyd,
okay.
Lloyd, you've known me for a little bit, and you know how I am, super techie. I'm
Yeah,
like,
Hey.
tink, 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 tink. So yeah, no.
I'm
I
just
wasn't
saying,
as figure outable. Like now I'm in the headspace of I'll figure it out. Eventually I can YouTube it and Google it and figure it
and
out.
I appreciate that so much. I really do. In all seriousness, I get really frustrated with older people who will like ask me to do something and they have the instructions and they're like, no, like the written instructions from like a box or whatever. I'm like, oh my God, thank you so much, blah, blah, blah. How'd you do it?
Hey,
drive over here.
And I love instructions. By the way, I hung my chaos today is it took me 6 summers because we've been down here. It's our 6th summer. I hung the curtains that we've had to go across our slider. It took me 6 summers to put it up there, and I got the instructions and I got the drill, and I still had to like rig it a little bit, but I used some power tools and a ladder and I made it happen. And I read the instructions, Lloyd.
Thank you.
I did it.
I
figured it out.
Reading the instructions.
I figured it out. Life is all about reading the instructions.
Absolutely. There you go. That's if you learn nothing else from the last hour, life is about read the instructions.
And then take the instructions and throw them out.
Yeah. There you go.
No, keep them because
it's true.
Your grandson does not want to drive.
Otherwise you're gonna have to call Lloyd up and he's gonna have to fix it and he's gonna get pissed at you and then he's gonna bitch on a podcast and it's all good. So you gotta vent.
Here's a little tidbit. Did you guys know that like the instruction books, the manuals for Legos, like I think you can sell those like on eBay and stuff because like people want the instruction books. I used to throw them away and then I started keeping them.
I miss when Legos you could just build whatever. Now you get Legos and thank God my son was never into this because it would have annoyed me. Well, but for specific things. It used to be you just got Legos and you build whatever the hell you build a multicolored house or with a weird green roof, and you had the weird creepy Lego guys that were animated in that movie, and it creeped me out. And I
loved that movie.
It was good. Yeah, I like Chris Pratt pretty much. Anything,
yeah. Well, I was gonna say like they make Lego sets for everything now. Yeah. So like everything. Yeah, I've got a lot of Legos in my household right now. My kids love Legos.
I'm getting nostalgic.
How do you want to share how people can get a hold of you or find you, or do you want to share?
Twitter at Dave13 Traffic. I occasionally retweet things that are not traffic related, but you're going to get a shit ton of accident, 28th Street and Eastern Avenue, Grand Rapids.
I miss
partially blocking. It's it's a good town. You know what? It's Grand Rapids, Kalamazoo, 2 of the best cities I've ever lived in, and they're great because they're not too big, but they're not too small, and they're close enough to like you want to go to Chicago, you want to go to Detroit. You're not that far away, and then,
not Canada.
Not Canada. Some of us just, I'm not anti-Canadian, but they talk funny, and it's colder up there. And I don't.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I hear you. I loved Canada. I loved visiting Canada when I was younger, and I went there as soon as I turned 18 because you go across the bridge and you can
drink. Yeah, now I'm legal.
Oh yeah, triple X.
I'm like a real grown up. I don't have to have the black X's on my hand when I go to the bars anymore.
Exactly.
I used to call those the mark of the beast when I'd go out when I was in my 20s. You look out for the girl who's got the marks of the beast on her hands. You got the big black X's. You got to stay away.
Yeah, you're funny. All right, well, thank you for hanging out with us. I appreciate
you. It was fun.